In this video right now, I'm going to talk about the importance of writing things down. And when you write these things down, I want you to constantly read them. Don't just write them down and that's it, put it away and stash it somewhere. No, I want you to write things down and continuously read them. This is what happened to me, and this is a true life story. See, I was 19 years, when I was in my teens, right? I remember this, I remember 19, I started rapping when I was 10 years old, right? Very young. But when I was 19 years old, I have two parents. I ended up selling drugs, right? I ended up getting in trouble, pushing bricks. I became a big time around my neighborhood growing up. But here's the thing, I didn't have to do that. See, around 19 years old, right, when I was growing up, I remember that if you didn't rap about drugs, because I was raised in New York, and if you didn't rap about drugs or about gun violence, you were corny. So I used to rap positive stuff, but I was corny. So I started writing that I was pushing bricks. I'm pushing bricks across town, you know me, got the pounds, this, that, and the third. I wrote about it so much and continuously kept reading my raps and performing my raps so much that it became my life. Without me having to, because I have two good parents that were looking after me. I could have kept going, stayed in school. I dropped out of school to focus more on this. And so that's what I'm trying to tell you. So I molded my life because I thought it was the cool thing through writing. I was writing about bricks and about pounds and about ecstasy and about cocaine, and I rapped about it so much before I lived it. I was 19. I had never touched any of that. Had never sold any drugs. Had never been around it like that. I just smoke weed and drink with my buddies, but I never had done anything like that. Good kid. I started writing about it so much, talking about I'm a big time push. I'm a big time brick pusher. This, that it became my life. And it wasn't until I was in my mid-30s, years later, that I stopped living that life. It wasn't until my mid-30s that I was able to look back and put it together wow. Because I used to think to myself, man, I didn't have to sell this stuff. I wasn't in need. But it was the cool thing. When I used to listen to rap and buy the CDs and the tapes, my favorite rappers were talking about that. And talking about, the Locks talking about dope money and this, that, and the third. And they were talking about, doing all of these things that I started, hey, they live it, so I need to be cool, so I need to rap about this stuff. And I became it. So it wasn't until I was in my mid-30s that I looked back and I was because I found, when I'm in my mid-30s, I was gonna move from one home to another, and I usually take all my stuff, and I got this big thing where I had all my old notebooks, and I finally took the time while I was making this move to go through my notebooks. And I saw my old raps when I was 15, 16 years old. And I used to rap about positive stuff, because that was the life I led. But when I was turning 18, 19, I started going through the books and I started seeing that my writing changed. I'm talking about bricks and guns and all of this. And within a year of writing this stuff and constantly reciting these rhymes, I started living that life. The minute I turned 20, I got into the street life. So it wasn't until I was going back, it wasn't until I was 30 something where I was able to put it together and holy shit, I wrote about my life and became it. So if I could do that with rap, right, and I could, become that, I became something negative because I was rapping about what I thought was cool. I became something negative. Imagine what I could do if I constantly write about my life, but becoming a good person and becoming a man of value. You know what I mean? So to anybody watching this video right now, it is when you write things down and you constantly recite them, that is a powerful, powerful, powerful thing that people overlook. It is something that people overlook, but it's very powerful. A lot of times you hear stuff write down who you want to become. And many of you write it down, or I am a billionaire. I am a billionaire who lives in a big mansion and I own my own business. You write it down, you throw it in your journal, and then that's it. See, me, when I used to write my raps, I even spit one for you right now. I'll be nah, I ain't even gonna get into that. But when I used to write my raps, I would write my raps and then I will constantly read it because I wanted to memorize it. So then after I read it so many times, I memorized it. So now we're in a cipher in the block, chilling, and I'm spitting it. So I'm even saying it again. So I'm writing it, I'm memorizing it, and then I'm reciting it. Like, so, like I'm saying the rhymes. So, and that helps speed up the process here. A lot of you guys, like I was saying, will write these affirmations, close the book as a journal, you put it away. And then you'll add stuff to it, add stuff to it, add stuff to it. And then you wonder why your manifestation doesn't come as quick. But mine, when I was in my teens, it came like that. You know why? Because I kept reading it, I memorized it, and then I would recite it. So what I started doing now, and it's been working like magic, I'm telling you, this is the strongest way to attract anything. I started writing who I am, who I want to become. I will write like a whole journal, even if I could write it in raps now, right? I will write it, recite it, and then I will memorize it, and then memorize it, and then I will recite it in front of the mirror. Because you can't, like, don't just write it and push it away. Like, you gotta like memorize it and make it like be something that records into your DNA, like something that, you know what I mean, it really sticks to you. I started rapping about this stuff, and here's the funny thing, that when I would rap about this, about pushing bricks and doing all these things, I didn't feel it. Like, I didn't feel like I was a drug dealer. You see how some people tell you need to feel it inside. I didn't feel it. I was just saying it, and deep down I knew I was a fraud. Like, I don't really sell this stuff. I don't really live. But I just kept reciting it and saying it, and I attracted that lifestyle. You can say what you want. The way I attracted it was insane too. Like, I was working for an advertising and marketing company at 20 years old, and then I ran into somebody that told me, hey, I needed to get something. And then I said, oh, you know what you need to get? And he's like, do you know where to get it? And I'm like, no. And he's like, can you find out for me? And I'm like, sure. Then I went to my neighborhood and I asked, hey, you guys know where I could get it? Yeah, so-and-so has it. I went and I got it from him. I started making money just like that. My life took over. Then from there, that's just how it started. It wasn't even something that was like, I'm looking for it. Like, yeah, I'm gonna do this for you. I wanna do this for you. I was like, I'll look into it. I'll see. This is not really what I do. So I did it, looked into it. Yeah, you want it? I can send it to you. You could just give me the money when you get it to me. He gave it to me, gave it to that guy. I made like $300 like that. And I was like, whoa, this is pretty good. Okay, call me when you want some more. And he started calling me, and I wanted more and more and more and more. And it's like boom, boom, and I became it. But when I used to recite these rhymes, I didn't feel like I was a drug dealer. I didn't feel it. I knew I was a fraud, but I still became it. So it's power. There's power in writing things down and constantly reciting it, memorizing it, and saying it. There's power in that. Don't just write it down, toss it to the side, and just have a whole journal of just affirmations that you never learn, or that you just skim through every now and then. I didn't skim through my raps. I needed to memorize it so I could go and say it when I'm saying it in a cipher. And if you really want to get even stronger into this affirmation thing, I would recommend you guys get a little group of your friends where y'all each write who you're going to become, you memorize it, and then y'all get together and spit it like a rap. And say these things that you learn like a rap, and where you guys each cheer yourselves on like we used to with the raps. And I guess the cheering and by you reciting who you are, you're gonna attract it even better, because that's what I did and where I attracted that life. So yeah, man, like there's power in writing, and I just started myself going back to this thing, going back to writing things down and reciting it as the person, and it's working. It's working. It works like crazy when you memorize these things. Not just write it, like I said, just write